Thanks to the supporters of channel member Michael McCloskey. I tell you what, boys and girls, this whole managing Barcelona lark, a little trickier than I anticipated it being, especially it seems like we haven't got an actual striker, which is problematic. Hello and welcome to Club 4, Part 4 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we are away against Chelsea in the Champions League and Villarreal in La Liga. Since you were last with me, we are continuing to struggle to find our feet with this system that we've been trying to get in place. We had the heroics of Jonathan Tamang in the last episode, but since then we've not had a centre-forward score a goal in a month. Not having a striker is a problem. Julio Aspas feels like he should have all of the attributes you would want him to have. He just isn't getting the job done. And Jonathan Tamang will be great, but he is still very young and very raw and not really ready. So what we're finding is we're struggling to score goals. As you can imagine, we managed to scrape a 1-0 draw against Real Sociedad, but then rescued a draw against Porto in the Champions League with a late penalty equaliser. We lost to Real Zaragoza in La Liga. We did manage to beat Almeria, but that's because they're really rubbish, and one of them was a penalty. So this is what La Liga is looking like. We are down in 9th place, 6 points outside of the Champions League qualification spots, which is what we need to do this season. We've got to finish top 4. We're not really looking to win the league this year, but we do have to qualify for the Champions League for next year, or else this club will be in financial ruin, and I don't think there's any levers left to pull. We do have a game in hand as well, so hopefully we can start to make some progress moving up in La Liga, and this is what the Champions League looks like. We are, after one game, down in mid-table, not alarmed just yet, but I do kind of wish that we'd have not signed... Where is he? Maybe he's not scoring goals in the Champions League. I know he is in the Premier League. If we just head over to the... I don't know why I've got caps lock on. What kind of monster sits there with caps lock on? There he is. Ignacio Reyes is scoring goals for fun for Spurs. 7 goals in 10 in all competitions. This is a guy that would really have fit nicely into this Barcelona team. Only 65 million, which I think is less than we paid for Aspas. Of course, he is Spanish. Look at that value now that he's got. Now he's hammering in the goals for Spurs. That value kind of means there's no chance of us ever bringing him to Barcelona. But he is doing really rather well in a Tottenham team that you might think, oh, does that mean Ismail Sen's not playing? No, it doesn't. They've got Ismail Sen as well, who has been injured, but they're playing a 4-4-2, so he can play in it. They also signed Michael Vincent, who, of course, I arranged before I left as well. He's also scoring goals. Basically, between Sen, Vincent and Reyes, we signed the 3 best strikers around, which is why we've been left with this guy who's just not delivering just yet. Not quite. He didn't cost quite as much as Reyes, but goodness me, I would pay that again to swap him for Reyes quite happily. Maybe today he'll start scoring goals. Remember, he did get 17 goals in the Premier League last year. He's not useless. And as you can see, we are continuing to tweak the tactic to try and get the best out of him. We've got him in there now as an advanced forward. We're playing a more attacking mentality. We're definitely playing a lot closer to my typical vertical tiki-taka system that I've used in the Streamer Showdown over the years. It's not quite the same as what we've used previously because we've got to do slightly different things out in these wide areas because we have a very specific kind of winger. But otherwise, it is fairly familiar looking, and this is the team that we're putting out there for this game against Chelsea. So we've got Simon in goal, a back four of Balde, Lazarov, Araujo and Koundé. Not really getting any good performances out of... Where is he? Can't even find him. The defender, Agostini, there he is. He's also not really turned up yet, despite him supposedly being 4.5 stars of current ability. He's already dropped down to 4 stars. That's beautiful, ideal. De Jong's at the base of the midfield. Gavi and Diaz getting a start in central midfield as we continue to try different combinations of midfielders. It is a first start for Fortunato Diaz, but playing in this more attacking central midfield role, I feel like he might be a decent option there. So we're going to give him a little bit of a try today. Pedri on the left wing, as I'm not really enjoying Ferran Torres. We actually played him up front in the last game when I dropped Aspas. Pedri on the left, Fati on the right. We could easily swap those two over, and then Aspas up front. The other option, of course, if we struggle, is to switch to the 4-2-3-1 and push Diaz up into there, or maybe move Pedri over into there and bring on one of the wide players. So we're still very much in those early days where I don't really... The tactic is certainly not finished. I'm not done tweaking the tactic. I don't really know what my best 11 is yet. I know we've got some very good players in the shape of Pedri, Gavi, Fati, De Jong. What I've not done is figured out how to get them all playing well together just yet, which you would think when they've all been at the club together for 10 years or so at this point, it should be relatively easy. I've talked about this as a feature I would like to see in Football Manager many times, but goodness me, would I like to be able to go to those players? And this is full on realism here. Why can't we do this? I should be able to go to that little group of 4 players and say, you've been playing together for 10 years. How do I get a performance out of you as a 4? What do you want to do? How do you want to play? Because at the moment, I mean, you saw the mistake from Gavi there. De Jong ends up out of position and Chelsea go on and score. And none of the 4 of them, the 4 crown jewels almost of this Barcelona team, certainly the 4 highest paid players, we're just struggling to get a tune out of them at the moment. I'm trying them in lots of different combinations. It's just not working. So I should be able to ask them, or I should be able to go back and look at what they were doing last year and the year before and 5 years ago. That kind of data isn't available in Football Manager. As I'm saying all this, of course, Pedri grabs a goal as we try him out on the left wing today. I mean, it's a far post header, full on inside forward stuff, and both teams have had a shot and both teams have scored so far. So goalkeepers absolutely covering themselves in glory in the early days of this match, and Chelsea are on the attack again. And if we could get a tackle in, that would be super. Gavi coming back to cover, De Jong clearing, looking for Ansu Fati. But once again, these players who've played together for so long, not really on the same wavelength. Gavi giving it to De Jong and leaving him in all kinds of trouble, and then De Jong not able to find Fati, and then Fati's playing over trying to find Gavi, and it gets intercepted and we concede a goal. It's these players who should know how to play together, and for whatever reason, just can't. And I don't understand it. So there's Fati, poor touch. I think he's looking for Gavi. I don't really know what he's trying to do. He's basically crossed it into the penalty area for Chelsea to attack, and they've gone and scored a goal. It's such a weird thing for him to do, but I don't know. I've tried Fati on the left, on the right, up front. I've tried Pedri in midfield and on both wings. I've tried Gavi in midfield and on both wings. I've tried De Jong defensive midfield and central midfield. I feel like I'm trying all of the combinations you could possibly try out of these players, and we're just... Maybe I just need to pick one, leave them in it for 5 games and get them gelling doing it. But they should already be gelled. Like I said, they've been here 10 years. They should already be gelled. They should already know what they're doing. And I am starting to worry a little bit that I might not have 5 games to just say, this is how we're going to play, go and do it. Because we've already had a poor start to the season. The board are already getting a little bit, what's going on here, Kev? If we're only on 1 point after 2 Champions League games and not even in the top 6 in La Liga, the pressure is going to start to build a little bit. We're going to start to lose a little bit of flexibility when it comes to trying things, and we're just going to have to focus in a lot more on short-term results, which really means that these players need to start doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they're just not, and it's making me very cross. Right, Chelsea have a corner. Mason Mount going to look to swing it into that near post. Luckily, the header goes over, but how are we losing here? This is not okay. Entire team demand more. Gavi is now tiring. Gavi is like 26 years old. How is he tiring at this point of a football match? Just don't get tired after 70 minutes. You're a young kid. We're going to bring La Cruz on in midfield. We're going to go to the 4-2-3-1, I think, actually, and put La Cruz in there. So we're also going to take off Diaz and bring Temel on in midfield. We've got to try something different. So we're going to try something different. Aspas can go to be an advanced forward like he was in the other system. Balde's having a poor game, so Pereira can come on for him at left back. You know what? We're going to make lots of changes. We're going to bring Bullet on in midfield because he can play as a box-to-box midfielder, so Temel can be the playmaker. And Pedri is also tiring inexplicably, so Ferran Torres can come on for him on that side. 5 substitutions. We're going to stay attacking. We've changed the system. I'm not panicking. You're panicking. we've taken off all three of the midfielders that I said I was building this team around. I've taken off when we're chasing a goal in a big Champions League game because I just can't get them to play together. Maybe we need to get rid of one of them. De Jong's on nearly £500,000 a week and he's 33. Maybe it's time to just shift him out of the place and start focusing on bringing in players who do what I want to do and not try and make this Barcelona team work for me. Properly kev it. Just make it unrecognisable in the next transfer window. But that's how I do it. I mean, you've seen me manage many teams at this point. You saw what I did at Spurs. I mean, Spurs are possibly an exception because we managed to get Harry Kane firing, who'd obviously been there a long time and was an older player. But normally, I bin off everything that made the club what it is and just bring in my own players. And I sign the kind of players that fit the kind of system I want to play. And this is not working at Barcelona, trying to work with what we've got, because we're about to go 3-1 down. This is a very troubling start to the season. And I suspect this is a club who aren't going to have a lot of patience with me. I realised this time last year I was managing Preston. They've seen me have a fluky Champions League win and decided to give me a job off the back of it. I don't think I'm going to get till Christmas if things don't turn around. Let's put it like that. We're demanding more again. And I mean, this is just a collection of really poor performances in key positions. Aspas has just got nothing. I don't know what West Ham were doing to get him to score 17 goals last season in the Premier League. And Dennis Simon is not covered himself in glory. He's conceded 4 goals today. The back four that we spent a lot of money on, bringing in the likes of Lazarov, who's not playing great. We obviously signed Agostini, who's not even in the team because I can't get a decent game out of him. There's problems here at Barcelona, and they're problems that we're not going to have a huge amount of time to fix. We need to win our next game because we've been thumped here, absolutely thumped, and having struggled to a draw at home against Porto in the last match, we're in danger of embarrassing ourselves in the Champions League, the tournament that I won last year with a team that shouldn't have been good enough to win it. I mean, on paper, this is a better squad than the Spurs squad that won the Champions League last year. The only difference is we don't have a striker. And I think that is proving to be hugely problematic, the fact we don't have a striker. And I don't really know what to do about it because the transfer window doesn't open until January and we've spent all our money already. Right, Bullet plays it into Fatty and Fatty can't get any kind of connection on it. I mean, another consolation goal there might have been nice, but as it is, it's finished 4-2. We have been absolutely battered and embarrassed. And sooner or later, the board are going to want to have a word with me. I don't know if I'm going to get that after this match. Luckily, we're getting away with it at the moment, but we're on a C at the moment. They're disappointed in my performance in the league so far. They're disappointed we're not making the most of set pieces. We really, really need to beat Villarreal now. Right, I'm backing my summer transfers and putting players in according to who I spent the most money on. So Agostini comes in at right back, even though he's not been playing great. And La Cruz comes into the centre of midfield, even though he's not been playing great. And we hope that this combination of players is the one to get the job done. I mean, on paper, it looks like a very good team. It's a very solid back four, decent goalkeeper, very, very good midfield and wide midfield options. And Aspas, as I'm going to keep saying, on paper, you can't, I mean, what, find the fault. What's wrong with him? He can't pass. Who cares? He's there to score goals and he's got a history of doing it. 19 in all competitions for West Ham last year, 28 in all competitions for West Ham the year before, including 13 goals in 12 appearances in Europe, which I guess is probably in the Conference League stat padding. But still, he's got a history of scoring goals. Played on loan for Ajax, got 13 goals for them when he was, what, 19, 20 years old? And it's not like he's a foreigner that's got to come in and acclimatise himself to Spain. He's Spanish. He should just hit the ground running in this league. But maybe today's the day he will. I could really use today being the day he does. Villarreal not had the best starts to the season themselves. They're actually below us in the league, which is something you can't say for most of the teams that I've heard of in this division. We need to go out and put on a show. We need a performance today. We don't just need the win. We need to score 2-3 goals, and hopefully this is a red card here for Villarreal early on. It is a wild challenge, and they are down to 10 men. So this feels like an opportunity now. Let's offer some encouragement. We could do with a 3 or 4 goal win, couple of goals for Aspas, and it'll feel like we're moving in the right direction. That's just really poor from Balde. Another established Barcelona player who's been here a long time. Such a heavy first touch. It's like the established players have got no interest in playing for me. I don't even know if that's a thing Football Manager can replicate. But at the moment, it seems like the only players who want to play for me are the ones that I've brought in. And even not all of them. I mean, Aspas, bless him, he's trying, but he's not very good. La Cruz looks like a decent player. That's about it. Tamang, who knows and trusts me from Preston, did well when he had an opportunity. Right, Aspas comes out wide and plays it back into Agostini. Over the top for Ansu Fati, but he can't get there. Now Aspas plays it across to Pedri. That's a lovely pass for Fati, and it's in the back of the net. I suspect it might be offside, but that looked a little bit more like it. Pedri and Ansu Fati combining. Did he manage to stay onside? Come on, ref. Go throw us a bone here, referee. He's got no interest in boning. What a monster. And, I mean, that's Aspas, who apparently can't pass. And frustration. Frustration once again. Right, it's Gavi with a free kick from deep on this right-hand side, looking for Ansu Fati and can't find him. But he does, in fact, win the ball eventually and give it back to Gavi, who in turn gives it to Agostini, and it's back with Gavi again. Gavi now, just back to Agostini. And now we're taking our time. I don't mind waiting for the spot. De Jong to Araujo. We're just keeping hold of the ball, waiting for an opportunity. It's a nice little pass with the outside of the boot from De Jong. And Pedri dinks it up into the area for Aspas. And that should have been bread and butter for Aspas. He's a big, strong, powerful centre forward. If you get a cross like that, you should be at least testing the goalkeeper. And I don't know what I have to do to get that man to start looking like a £55 million striker. Balde now on the left-hand side. He's got Pedri ahead of him. Can't find him. What is wrong with these players? Gavi wins the ball back in midfield. And now Fati to Agostini, and Fati again, who's got in behind here. Can he find Aspas? He can. And he scored. Finally, we get a goal out of Julio Aspas. It is his second of the season, but it's his first in about 6 weeks. And it actually looked like proper football. Getting Fati out wide, he just drills it over on a plate for Aspas, and this is exactly what the doctor ordered for today's episode. Get goals into him, get a win. He's hit that so hard as well. That's all he needs to do. Just get the ball to him and let him hit it hard towards the net. It's very easy being a striker, and he's making it look more difficult than it needs to be. Hopefully, this is the last episode you'll hear me moaning about Julio Aspas, and he'll go on and become a proper Barcelona player now. Because I don't see any reason why he shouldn't be. There's no logic behind him not being great immediately. Agostini plays it back to Simon now. And Simon, ball forward, looking for Balde and finds him. Balde hasn't been able to pass all day long. This time finds Lazarov because at least he's passing backwards. Plays it forward to Pedri. And now La Cruz combining nicely with Pedri. It finds its way to Gavi. Gavi running into space. And then rather than playing it into one of the two guys ahead of him, just a wild shot from range. That's into the hands of the goalkeeper, and we continue to be a little bit frustrated. Just the one goal ahead. At any moment, Villarreal could find themselves back into the game. Like I say, just a win isn't enough today. We need a confident, decisive victory, and we need at least another goal for Aspas. We need him to start building up a little bit of confidence, starting to feel like a proper player. What is reassuring is seeing Pedri, Gavi, and Fati all putting in good performances today, and Aspas, that front four. I mean, La Cruz not really joining in, but the ones who I was criticising the most against Chelsea do seem to have turned up today, which is a good thing. Right, we are going to take off La Cruz and bring on, we're going to bring on Temel in midfield. He can just slot in there in that Mezzala role. We're also going to bring on Koundé to play at centre-back, and I think we're going to take off Pedri, who's starting to tire. Zeballos, no idea. He can come on and play on the left-hand side. He's actually been quite decent so far. Right, Gavi's now picked up an injury. Here it comes. The injuries are starting. Sunset can come on for him. And then I guess for our final change, we'll just bring on Bullet. And we're just going to shuffle this midfield around a little bit. We want him in there as the box-to-box midfielder. Yeah, Sunset can go. In fact, we might do that. and get Temel playing as the deep line playmaker, because probably next season, that's where Temel is going to hang out. He's our long-term De Jong replacement, so any opportunity we've got to play him in that De Jong position, if De Jong continues to not put in performances, Temel might be playing there by Christmas as it stands. I think we're going to hold on here, but it is far from convincing. Once again, playing against 10 men, we've managed to score once. We might even concede an equaliser here. Kunde, luckily, is there to intercept. But a laboured 1-0 victory against a team in the bottom half of the table who've been down to 10 men for almost the entire match doesn't scream Barcelona and Champions League qualification, does it? Sunset is in here, and I think that one is offside again. I mean, if the referee had been bribed, not that Barcelona would ever do a thing like that, but if the referee had been bribed here, we'd be 3-0 up. As it is, just the 1-0. Very sad. And hopefully we don't balls it up. Maybe we don't need to see the replay. Replays are for nerds. We have picked up a win. Goodness me, do we make hard work of it, but 3 points is 3 points at this point. That is exactly what we need. And the board is still a little bit disappointed in me, but not disappointed enough to start piling on the pressure just yet. We're only 3 points outside of Champions League qualification. If we can win a few more matches, we'll start to move up the league. I mean, that's proper science for you right there. Right, I think we're going to... Do we just go all the way through to Tottenham now? I obviously want to show you this game against Tottenham. Have we got any big domestic matches before then? Not really. I mean, Valencia are top of the league. Maybe we come back for Valencia and Shakhtar as we are still. Maybe going to Tottenham's a little bit too far. We'll perhaps come back for Shakhtar in the Champions League, because the Champions League's starting to look desperate. Shakhtar and Valencia, and then we'll do Tottenham and someone else, because we've got to show Tottenham. Talking of showing Tottenham, I think the Tottenham matchday vlog will be out tomorrow. Don't panic. If you miss a day of Non-League to Legend, there'll be a catch-up one on the weekend. We obviously did a Sunday episode this week just gone. I think I'm going to try and get the Tottenham matchday vlog out for tomorrow, in which case you'll get an extra Non-League to Legend at the weekend. Panic not. You always get 5 in a week. Just sometimes I'll move to the weekend if we've got something time-sensitive, like a Tottenham matchday vlog coming soon. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.